Howdy guys, it's Joe here, and today I'm going to talk to you guys about my own opinion on the way to win more competitive ranked games. Now of course, as always, it's an opinion, but I hope that this can help you at least kind of figure out what to do in the future, and kind of help you win some more ranked games, and as well with that, be a lot more useful to your team. Now why I initially thought about this idea was because I've been playing a lot of ranked games, I've been looking at my teammates, and a lot of my teammates that I've been playing with, even in Diamond, are playing as Jack of all trades. Now normally you'd say that's a pretty good idea, being able to play every hero, but the problem is, a lot of these people are trying to play 12 heroes, 13 heroes, 14 heroes, and they only have maybe 1 to 2 hours as each hero. Now that may not sound way too bad, but the problem is once you're up in Diamond, or even once you're up in like Platinum, when you're only playing with 2 hours on a hero versus somebody that maybe has 20 to 30 hours on a hero, you're obviously going to do a lot worse, unless you just have a ton of experience from other games, but for the majority of players, you're going to do a lot worse. And this is one thing that I'd really like to talk about. I feel like a lot of people think that they should just play every hero in the game because they're going to be able to comply to more situations, be able to swap more often. But the honest truth is, if you're really good at 3 to 4 heroes, you're probably going to end up doing a lot better as those people than just swapping to the best hero for the situation. Now, an example that I like to give for this is, let's say that you're a player that, likes to play everybody in the game, and you're playing Soldier 76, and the enemy team happens to switch to a Tracer. And you realize, McCree beats Tracer, maybe I only have 1 hour as McCree, but I think I'm going to switch to McCree and try to kill the Tracer. Well, when that happens, if the Tracer's pretty good, you're probably not going to hit many shots, they're probably still going to beat you quite hard, and it's going to be very hard for you to do much if you really aren't that great at McCree. While at the same time, if there was another player that has maybe 40, 50 hours on Soldier, they'd realize, probably I should stay on Soldier, I should stay on who I'm good with, and just try to play as best as I can. Even though I may not directly counter the enemy character, if I'm aiming better, if I'm getting more shots than on the enemy, and if I'm just doing better in general, I'm going to be a lot more useful to my team than simply countering the enemy team comp just by a little bit. I see this really often in games. Somebody, maybe has like 2 hours on average on a character, and then they realize, oh, the enemy team has a Roadhog, maybe we should get a Reaper, but they only have like 10 minutes on Reaper in total, and then they switch to Reaper, they go in, they don't know how to position, they don't know how to aim really great with the character, and they just die and they don't really help the team that much. Often it's just better to play the characters that you're good at and to play what you really had a lot of practice with. And as well with this, if you get really good at a character, you can beat most other characters in most other situations. You can kind of beat your counters if you become amazing as your character. And this can also be put the other way around. If you're not very good at a character and the enemy team has a very good person that maybe the person you're switching to counters, well, you're probably going to lose anyways just because they're a lot better at that character and they just have a lot more game knowledge and know how to position and all that such a lot better than you, who has little time on your one character. In general, I'd say a lot of the time you're going to be a lot more effective even playing somebody that isn't exactly perfect for your team comp than playing somebody that is perfect for your team comp but that you're not really all that great at. Now, I'd say that we can really often see this at, the top 500 levels. We see people with like 30, 40, 50, 60 hours on one character, or maybe, 2 or 3, maybe even 4. But they have a lot of time on just a set few, the people that they want to become good with, and a nice variety, support, tank, and then DPS. They don't just play one type of character as well, so that's a thing you should keep in mind too. But you can see these people, they're winning a lot of games, and they're a lot better at their person. You can improve in general at a game at a decent speed if you're playing everybody in the game, but if you focus on a few characters, I feel like you're going to improve a lot faster, get a lot better game knowledge, and be a lot more effective to your team than just trying to play everybody. Now, I feel like another thing that can also, somewhat complement this or kind of talk towards this is that we see people playing characters that are simply called non-meta at all, like Symmetra, up in Grandmaster. Some of these people, like Bastion, there's a Bastion main in Grandmaster, they've moved all the way up with someone that's not even in the meta at all. So, if you're really good at a character, you can pretty much get anywhere you want to if you put in enough time and effort. So I'm saying with this, even if you might not have the exact right team comp, you'll be able to carry a lot more games long term. Now, another thing that I hear a lot of people say is that, if you play 3 or 4 characters, you're going to never have the right situation where your team comp's any good at all. But I feel like often this is simply untrue. Now, I have had, 1 or 2 times where we've had 3 or 4 Zarya mains on our team, but the thing is, often, you'll have, one big main, and then 2 or 3 characters right underneath that. So maybe not everyone can play Zarya. Maybe not everyone can play the main person that they want to play. But often, they're going to have someone right underneath that. For example, I was in a game, I play Ana a lot for my secondary, and somebody else played a lot of Roadhog. So we just happened to pick those people up right after the Zarya player. It was okay, we still made a decent team comp, and we still ended up winning that game. It's okay to not always have to play exactly your main even in this situation, but I feel like even playing, characters that, are your second best, your third best, if you have a decent amount of time to them, you're still going to do better than just picking people completely dependent on your team comp that you want to create. Now, a thing that I do hear quite a bit of people say is that, if you have like 4 characters that you want to be trying to play, then you're never going to get them. People are going to always auto-lock them. But honestly, this has almost barely happened to me ever. This barely happens, let's be honest. Let's say that you have 4 characters you want to play. For example, I like to play a lot of Reaper, I like to play Ana, Lucio, and Zarya. I always try to go for Zarya first, but the other characters as well. I've had 2 games where all these people were taken, and that's it. 2 games. Now, of course, I played like 200 games already so far in the season, so really that's not way too many games that I've had to actually have not being able to play my main. I'd say it's definitely worth the bargain to be able to get really good at a few characters and maybe have the slight chance that you can't play them sometime, then getting alright at other characters but really not helping your team the most that you possibly could. Now, another thing to also mention is that if you happen to try to lock in your character as fast as possible instead of waiting for your team to pick characters, then obviously you're going to get your person a lot more often than even this, and it'll decrease your chance of not having anyone that you can play by a lot. Now, another big problem about, playing everybody being a jack of all trades is that you might be able to fit in my team comp, you might be able to do at least average, but a lot of the times the enemy team has somebody that's maining a character. They're going to be doing way better than you, and it'll be really, really hard for you to try to amount to as much as they've been doing. You simply have less time in your character, you have less effort on your character, and it's hard for you to be able to play whoever you're playing as good as the enemy team. Now, I feel like this is really evident in your games when you're playing with somebody that, plays everybody, but then happens to pick Reinhardt, a character that really isn't, the hardest thing in the world to try to think about, but you can really see the difference between a good Reinhardt and, like an average Reinhardt. Like, the average Reinhardt, a lot of times will go in, will kill themselves, won't go in with their team, and while they still might be doing good enough, it would be really nice if they just happen to main a few characters, play those characters a lot better, and it would be a lot easier to win your games having somebody that was really good at who they're good at, instead of somebody that's just playing heroes that are good for the situation. So yeah, I just say, play maybe 4, maybe even 5 characters if you want to, put a lot of time into them, put a lot of hours into them. Now, I think that I do want to say that a lot of people use this as a counterpoint, is that, I could become good at everybody if I put in enough time, and that is completely true. You could become amazing at every character if you put, like, let's say about at least 40 hours on every character, at least that. You could become probably good at everybody in the game. But the thing is, a lot of people can't, and for people like myself, I don't want to have to put in 40 hours into every single character to become pretty good with them. I'd rather just get good at the game faster, be able to play the game a lot faster, be able to get into ranked, and be able to get going. If you really want to play every character in the game, if you want to play them all very well, you can 100% play them for like 20, 30, 40 hours, get good at them. If you put in the time, you will still get the result. I'm just saying for most people, this won't happen. For the majority of people, they don't have enough time in their day, they don't have enough time in their week, they don't have enough time by the time that they stop playing the game, even in order to, do this. So I'd say instead, play who you're really good at, play who you want to become good at, and get a small list of people that you want to become really useful at, and you'll be able to help your team a lot more. If you didn't have all the time, I would say you could easily do this. If you did have all the time, you could play every character in the game and be useful as everyone in the game. But I feel like for most people, you simply don't have enough time, and that's really a judgment call up to you if you have enough time to do this, or if you don't have enough time to learn everyone in the game. That's really just up to you. And as well with that, I do want to say once again that if you do happen to learn 4 different characters, make sure that you learn at least 1 tank and at least 1 support with your DPS characters, as if you happen to just pick 4 DPS, a lot of the times it will happen that you won't be able to get DPS. So I say, in order to have this really work the best for you in ranked, make sure that you learn DPS, tank, and support, just at least one of them, and you'll be doing a lot better in your games. Anyways, this is all just my own personal experience from playing with people that have either had a ton of time on one hero and do really good, or just have an average time and do really average. I just want to know what you guys personally think yourselves also though, so make sure to tell me in the comment section down below. Personally, this is how I feel like you can really climb. This is what I see a lot of people doing in this game, in League of Legends, in a lot of different games. They try to play some certain characters, get really good at them, and climb. But if you have your own opinion, make sure to leave that in the comment section down below and tell me what you think. Anyways, if you enjoyed, as always, press the like button, press subscribe if you want to see any more videos like this in the future, or press any of the videos on the screen right now, as this is a new cool end card feature. And as always, have a wonderful day.